What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Brandy Pixel, and believe it or not, I'm back on Facebook. That's right, after months of being locked out because of some security, something or another, I'm back on. So that means AMAs are starting back up, so get your questions ready for next week to post. But I'm going to answer one today from James Weingartz from Facebook. He's got some questions about solid workflows, creation workflows. What advice do you have for beginner creatives who are trying to establish a solid workflow? And then also kind of related, a workflow is something is a workflow something you can develop over trial and error, or can one be constructed before pre-production starts? So my answer to you, James, and everybody else out there who might be listening is, yeah, I look at a workflow kind of like a map, right? Or for you young people, a GPS. I don't go anywhere without first looking at a map. And so having that workflow to me before I start a project is very much like a map. I have to know where I'm going so I know the choices, the creative choices that I'm going to take to get there. So I would absolutely encourage you to develop a pre-production workflow. There are lots of them out there on the internet. You can go look them up for whatever you're doing, whether it's animation or comics or novel writing or what have you, or you can just develop your own process, or you can email me and I can give you some suggestions. Happy to do that. But for establishing that workflow, that's a little bit harder, right? It's easy to have a map. It's less easy to be disciplined to use that map when you're on the road and you get distracted. Right? Ooh, look, there's Six Flags, right? Ooh, look, there's McDonald's. Ooh, look, there's whatever. And you pull off and get a little bit diverted from where you're trying to go. The same thing happens with creatives. We get busy in a project, and invariably we get to a point where things get a little tough, and that other work in progress, that other whip is over here in your brain going, oh, but I'm fun and exciting and new, and I'm not hard, I'm easy. Or you see something shiny over here like, ooh, I'd like to tell a story like that, or ooh, I'd like to draw a picture like that. I encourage you to try and be disciplined and put in a set number of hours every day on your work in progress. While it may be difficult at times, it may be hard, it may seem like work, guess what? It is work. That's why you're doing it, right? You're not necessarily doing it just for fun. You're doing it to build that work muscle, to build that production muscle in you, to build that habit of getting things done. Something I tell creatives a lot is that your project isn't going to do anybody any good sitting on your hard drive unfinished. So push to the end every day, work the hours that you've set yourself to work, whether it's 15 minutes or whether it's 5 hours. Put in that time, and what will happen is over the long run, you're going to see a tremendous amount of backlog that builds up on that project. And when you look over that backlog and when you review it with people or show it to people, they get excited, you get excited, and that fuels your next day of creativity. So don't just do it and forget about it. Review it each day as you go through your production process. Look over what you've done. That's going to energize you to take that next step, write that next chapter, draw that next page, color that next panel, whatever it is for your specific creative project. So long story short, number one, absolutely, you must have a pre-production process. You must have a map to know where you're going. And number two, it's all about the grind, right? Do the work every day that you need to do to finish the project. You might think you'll never get there, but man, when you do and you look back over the ground you've covered, it's going to be amazing. So I encourage you to keep going, all of you out there. And then I will see you next week, Lord willing, to answer another Ask Me Anything. So post your questions on Monday, wherever you are, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And I've got a lot of questions to answer, but keep adding those to my backlog so that I can have a production schedule and keep answering questions every week. Thanks so much. You guys be blessed. Talk to you soon.